What is going on, Arizona sports fan family? How are we doing out here today on this Monday morning, ladies and gentlemen? A day after the Super Bowl, we ended up seeing the Kansas City Chiefs going and getting another Super Bowl ring. So Patrick Mahomes currently right now has 2 Super Bowl rings under his name, and we have the Philadelphia Eagles. Definitely did their best to stay within this game, but it wasn't enough for Patrick Mahomes. Kansas City Chiefs ended up beating the Eagles 38-35, but boy, I thought it was an actual really, really good game. I'm not sure how you guys felt about it, but I felt like the Chiefs were going to win it. The Eagles are good. The Eagles are a very good team. Definitely nothing to discredit their way. Now, I know there's a lot of Eagles fans out there that are pretty upset, pretty bummed out, and not very happy with what's going on. And I don't blame them, right? If I was in their shoes, I probably would have felt the exact same way. But great effort all around for the Eagles, team. I think Jalen Hurts did a very good job, but it's Patrick Mahomes, man. It's so hard to beat that team with Andy Reid and Travis Kelce and Isaiah Pacheco now, right? What was it, a 7th round draft pick running back that it's just working wonders for them. But it's just kind of one of those things where it's like the rich just keep getting richer, and Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs just keep winning. They keep winning, and I can see him being the next Tom Brady, which we'll see how that all transpires, ladies and gentlemen. But we got a lot to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to mainly be talking about Jonathan Gannon today. If you haven't seen the topic or the title of this video, we're going to be talking about Jonathan Gannon. Did he lose his value with losing to the Kansas City Chiefs? We're going to be diving into that here today. If you guys haven't done so already, definitely do me a huge favor. Smack the like button on this video and subscribe. Subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. We're on the road to 12K, ladies and gentlemen, and definitely can't do it without you guys. Also, real quick, we are sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Definitely go ahead and use promo code AZSF so you can get your first deposit matched up to $100. So I know the NFL is over for a long time from now, which feels like forever, but you still got the NBA, you still got other sports. If you want to go ahead and place a bet on there, definitely go ahead and use promo code and download the app today. Promo code AZSF. All right, let's go ahead and dive right into it here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about Jonathan Gannon and did he lose his value? This is a big talking point. I did actually see a report coming out here this morning saying that it seems like it's coming down to either Jonathan Gannon, which is a defensive coordinator from the Eagles, as well as Lou Anarumo. Now, I'm not 100% sure how much that rumor, his weight is into it, but that's kind of what's been floating around, right? That right now we're in a situation that it's either going to be Lou Anarumo or Jonathan Gannon. Now, if you're going to ask me, well, what about Kafka? I don't know. I'm just telling you what the rumor said, right? I'm just kind of letting you guys know what the rumor is. I think both or all 3 options have some very good weight to it, right? I think they can very well be good as long as Michael Bidwell allows them to do their job and gets out of their way. I want to see a different Michael Bidwell, right? I want to see a Michael Bidwell that obviously wants to win, but also allows either Lou Anarumo, Jonathan Gannon, or Mike Kafka, whoever does, become the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, to let them do their job, right? Like, that's one thing that I definitely want to see from Michael Bidwell. But we also did hear Michael Bidwell come out on Friday saying that there will be a pause in the head coaching search heading into the weekend. One of the biggest reasons as to why he said that this is actually taking as long as it's taking is because this is probably one of the first times you've heard of a team that's, getting, a new head coach, getting a new GM, and on top of that, we're hosting the Super Bowl, right? There's a lot of things happening here in the world of, Phoenix, Arizona. So that's what Michael Bidwell said, right? Like, this is one of the main reasons why he's saying that it's why it took as long as it did. Now, there might be some truth to that, right? Especially because Monty Osenfor is a brand new GM, hasn't had really much experience, but he definitely wants to make sure he hires the right person. And we don't want to find ourselves 2 years, 3 years down the road talking about fire this person, right? We want to make sure this guy is good for the long haul. And I think that's one of the main reasons why it's taking so long, on top of that, of, hiring a GM this year, as well as hosting the Super Bowl, which is a lot. It's a lot. But let's talk about Jonathan Gannon, right? I think this is kind of one of the big, talking points that we want to kind of get into here today. I've already heard a lot of people not a big fan of Jonathan Gannon after the Super Bowl. Now, if you didn't watch the Super Bowl, I don't know what to tell you, breaking news or spoiler alert. The Eagles did lose by 3 points. The Chiefs ended up beating them 38-35. Now, I didn't like the way that game ended, right, with the kneel down, but I'm not going to blame the Chiefs for doing it. They played the game how they're supposed to play it. However you want to feel about that or the halftime show, I did think that the actual game was a very good game. Competitive till the end, until the last 2 minutes where the Chiefs obviously just need it down. But like I said, if it was the Cardinals, I would want them to do the exact same way. So here we are, right? Right now, we're in a situation where the Arizona Cardinals have 3 options. All of the rumors are saying it's either Gannon or Anarumo, but I'm just going to keep the 3 options right now. Kafka, we're not going to really talk about. Now, for me, with the news of Gannon coming out, my mind never really changed. I still want Lou Anarumo out of the 3. If Kafka is not a person that's, in the top 2, that's fine, right? I know the Gannon news came out on Friday, or well, no, it's on Sunday. It came out yesterday that the Arizona Cardinals are obviously going to keep continuing to flip stones, and that Gannon's name was kind of, put out there. Now, his name has always been floated around, but, the confirmation of the big national media was, confirming yesterday. But to me, I think Lou Anarumo is going to be my guy that I would love for the next Arizona Cardinal head coach. But like I said before, whoever is the next Arizona Cardinal head coach, I'm going to support him to the full, to the best of my ability. But Jonathan Gannon, right? Jonathan Gannon. Now, one of the biggest critiques I've seen so far about Jonathan Gannon in this game alone, and I'm talking about the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Chiefs. I mean, you gotta say, I guess, that the second half meltdown, right? I guess that would be one of the biggest things that people want to talk about, right? Like, I feel like a lot of fans have been turned off by Jonathan Gannon. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to defend this man. I don't know him, but if he does become the next Arizona Cardinal head coach, I would support him to, the best of my ability. But a lot of people are wanting to look at the Super Bowl and saying, he's no longer, I don't want him, right? And that's fine, right? That's definitely an opinion. But we also need to kind of keep in mind that this man played against Patrick Mahomes, probably one of the best quarterbacks in this generation of NFL quarterbacks, one of the best. Now, I'm not trying to give him a pass. I'm not trying to do that at all. We do also got to admit that there was a second half meltdown, right? We're fully familiar with how these meltdowns happen because it happens to us all the time under Cliff Kingsbury. But during the first half, the Eagles actually did a very good job against the Chiefs. A very good job against the Chiefs. They held that offense to 7 points. Now, yes, it was 14-24 heading into the half, right? 14-24. The Kansas City Chiefs were down by 10 points, but 7 of those points that the Chiefs had out of the 14 was due to the defense, right? They stripped the ball away from Jalen Hurts, and they ended up getting a defensive touchdown. So they held that offense to 7 points in the first half. And honestly, Jonathan Gannon's value went up. We were like, oh my goodness, are you seeing what this man is doing? He held that Chiefs offense in the first half to 7 points. Great, right? Awesome. But the second half ended up happening. Mahomes did his Mahomes thing. And in the third quarter, he scored 7 points, or they scored 7 points, right? And in the fourth quarter, the team scored another 17 points. So, having a 24-point second half is not a good look for Jonathan Gannon, right? Now, did he lose his value? There might be some people out there that are saying, yes, he lost his value. To me, yes, I do agree with the second half, meltdown. I definitely do agree with that, because if the if the Eagles actually did what they did in the first half, you would be seeing the Eagles winning this game and not the Chiefs. It's very crucial when you're in the second half that your adjustments are put out there. Now, he probably came into this half, right, the second half, and he was like, oh, I don't need to do anything. I held that offense to 7 points, right? And he thought he had a match made in heaven. And that's probably how he played the exact game throughout the entirety of the game, right? Now, obviously, that other team on the other side also gets paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to try to figure out your defense. Got to give credit to where credit's due. Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes whipped up a huge comeback for the Kansas City Chiefs that now landed them another Super Bowl ring, because 24 points in the second half for the Kansas City Chiefs is exactly what they needed to do to get the job done. Now, they only scored they only won by 3 points, right? And I do think that the Eagles had a fair chance of this game. They did. They absolutely did. But the value of Gannon has actually gotten down. It has gone down. Now, me doing a little research, I'm on every platform you can think of, right? I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, YouTube, and then obviously on TikTok. A few things that I'm actually seeing out there the moment we started to talk about Jonathan Gannon is that there's actually a lot of Philadelphia Eagle fans out there that do not want Jonathan Gannon to remain as their defensive coordinator. Now, is this because obviously the lack of adjustments in the second half of the Super Bowl? Probably, right? Or is this the fact that they never did truly like Jonathan Gannon from the get, right? We don't know, right? We don't truly know. Now, we understand that the Philadelphia Eagle fan base is very passionate. We understand that they're over there. They are going to flip whoever the heck off, right? They're going to heckle whoever the heck they want to do. They're a different breed. But that fan base over there in the Eagles, there's a different breed. Absolutely a different breed. So is that one of the main reasons why they don't want to keep Jonathan Gannon? I don't know, right? I don't know. But Jonathan Gannon, or at least the Philadelphia Eagles, has had a top 10, right? Wherever you want to put them in the rankings, right? I would say that they would probably easily be a top 10 defense, right? You want to put them at 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, right? In any of the columns. They have a very good defense. But there is a lot of Philadelphia Eagle fans that do not want him to return. Now, I do have some screenshots here from some of our subscribers here of this channel that I want to go ahead and let you guys know what we see here on our end. I want to get your guys' opinion about this, right? We got one of our guys here, which is a Cardinal fan. He says this: I live in Eagles country, and calm down, my fellow Cards fans. He is not exactly beloved by the fans and the media. Why is he very passive in play calling when he should be aggressive? He has had media scratching their heads why he's not more aggressive. Some have hinted if he wasn't blessed with the ultimate defense talent, he would be a scapegoat. Former Cardinals/Eagles Seth Joyner has been quite critical. Remember when the Eagles faced the Cardinals? They played off and basic defense when they could have blown the Cardinals out. While I would welcome him if chosen, I'm giving everyone bird's eye view. Equals Gannon is not as beloved as most would think. This right here was probably one of the best comments I've seen. And that's one of the main reasons why I pinned it. Because let's be honest here, right, Cardinal fans? Once we're hearing new names out there, I think a lot of us are just impatient at this very moment, right? I think a lot of us are impatient with We just want to know who the next head coach is, right? Now, Jonathan Gannon has a big name out there, right? But we don't know what the Philadelphia Eagle media says out there, right? Unless we go out there and actually talk to the Philadelphia fans in the media over there and saying, what do you truly think of Jonathan Gannon? They're going to be the ones that has the real scoop on him, right? Like we have our opinions on defensive coordinator Vance Joseph. People from the outside, they're going to be like, oh, he's retained his job. Oh, he's been a head coach. He's going to be a good DC, right? But for us, we know Vance Joseph as a guy who never plays, first year defensive players coming out of the draft. We know him as putting edge rushers, making them cover tight ends, right? We see a lot of the flaws because we're the ones seeing all the games. So I wanted to make sure that I highlighted that specific comment. And we have a few more that we're going to dive into here today, being that in Eagles country, they're not as fond as Jonathan Gannon as we might be here, across the country here, because we're looking for an Arizona Cardinal next head coach. And honestly, at this point, I think we would take the GM of the local YMCA at this very moment, because it's just been so long that we're waiting for at this very moment. But let me get to my first contribution here of the day. We got AZ Fan 1998. He says, bye-bye Gannon. Hello Anarumo. Gannon's defense got lazy in the second half. They let Patrick Mahomes score 3 or 4 consecutive drives. Lou is 3-1 against the Chiefs. Hire Lou tonight. Oh, I love this. Now, like I said earlier, my number one is Anarumo. I want Anarumo, and we're going to dive into Anarumo here a little bit pertaining to his time with the Chiefs, and he highlighted this perfectly. 3-1 against the Chiefs. There was talks out there calling Arrowhead Stadium Burrowhead, and obviously the Chiefs are the last man standing this year because of what ended up happening, but I do agree. I do agree. Appreciate the contribution, my guy. Let's keep going here with the other, screenshots that I ended up taking here. We got another one here from a Giants fan, and this is what the Giants fan says. Now, I'm going to trust anybody in the NFC East, so if anybody's out there that has more intel from Jonathan Gannon, please send my way. This is from a New York Giants fan. Trust me when I say this. You need someone more like Lou than Kafka or the Eagles DC. You guys are a very chaotic situation with your quarterback. You need someone that can handle multiple aspects of a dysfunctional mess. Kafka is not inexperienced enough to deal with all this crap in your organization. As a Giants fan, we had 10 years of that same crappy chaos, and we needed a coach within 20 years experience, 5 Super Bowls and an Alabama college championship to fix it. Don't get distracted by the new shiny coach. Look at someone who can manage the Bulls crap first, or else you will remain a coach carousel, crappy gameplay for a very long time. Good luck. Ooh, another good comment here, ladies and gentlemen. Another good comment. And now I'm not going to sit here, guys, and I'm not trying to sell you guys on Lou Anarumo, right? That's not what I'm trying to do at all. Like, you guys have your own opinion, and that's completely fine. Go based off of what you feel like is accurate. I just wanted to make sure that I highlight what we actually see out there from other fan bases. So far we got a Cardinals fan, but is very familiar with, the Eagles country and what happens over there. We get somebody that also is, a Giants fan that has a lot of time in the NFC East. And then we also have this random screenshot, and I'm not sure if they're a Cardinal fan, but he says Gannon is atrocious. I pray y'all get him. And I'm assuming he's an Eagles fan, right? Now, these comments are from the last video that I posted yesterday. On yesterday's video, when I said, oh, it's confirmed Gannon is now a possibility for the Arizona Cardinals, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say if Gannon gets hired, I'm not going to support it. No, I'm going to support it. I truly am. Either if it's Kafka or Gannon or Anarumo, I'm going to support whoever's going to be the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. I just want to make sure that we all actually have our eyes peeled, right? We have our eyes peeled and we actually know what's going on, because I would rather trust somebody who's in the know, right? Someone who's actually going through every single game, as opposed to a big national media that's trying to get their guy promoted, right? Their buddy promoted to a specific section or a specific, head coach, right? So that's kind of where I'm falling at right now. Now, I'm not trying to dissuade the Gannon camp. If he becomes it, he becomes it, right? So I personally want Lou Anarumo. I personally do. Now, in that video, there was also a lot of Cardinal fans coming out here and saying things like, oh, yes, I want Gannon. Yes, make Gannon the new Arizona Cardinal head coach, right? So we got both sides of the coin, right? We got both sides of the coin. right now, I think the Arizona Cardinals are just kind of going through an absolute mess. And I think we just need to figure out what we need to do from here. But it doesn't look good that Jonathan Gannon had a 24-point collapse in the second half and allowed Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to win them over by 3 points, right? And now they're the Super Bowl champions because the defense collapsed, right? The defense collapsed. Let's be honest. So there's that, right? So that's the Jonathan Gannon camp. Now, there was a rumor that came out earlier today saying right now the Arizona Cardinals seemed to have narrowed it down to two people, Gannon and Anarumo, both defensive-minded head coaches. I'm not going to completely put the report up because, like I said, to me, it's still three people in the running, Kafka, Gannon, and Anarumo right now. So, but that was what the rumor is. So we might be seeing kind of a two-way battle at this very moment. We'll see. Now, let's talk about Anarumo here real quick. Now, actually, before we talk about Anarumo, the Arizona Cardinals are meeting with Gannon today. They're meeting with Gannon today. Now, are we going to be hearing when the Arizona Cardinals are going to make their decision? I'm only hoping we're going to make our decision soon, right? I'm hoping by either today, by tomorrow. I'm just waiting to see who our next head coach is so I can support that guy, right? That's what I'm waiting for. I'm hoping by tomorrow we'll know because we are supposed to be meeting with Gannon today. Now, let's talk about Anarumo. Now, one of the contributions that I got earlier today, right, from my guy AZ Fan, I think this is one of the biggest things that we have to talk about here, right? That Lou Anarumo is 3-1 against the Chiefs, and this man just looks really good. He looks really good. And I mean, the people that are in the Cincinnati Bengals defense compared to the Eagles defense, you would say that the Eagles have a lot more talent than the Cincinnati Bengals do, right? But the Cincinnati Bengals always seem to find a way to stick it to Patrick Mahomes. At one point, Joe Burrow was undefeated against Patrick Mahomes, except for this last game, right? They ended up, getting him to the playoffs, right? Or the Super Bowl, right? One of the last games, not including the playoff game, this is the last game in the regular season, Joe Burrow beat the Chiefs again, 27-24. Now, in that game, the Bengals held Patrick Mahomes to 223 yards passing, 1 touchdown, and Patrick Mahomes also did run the ball. He had 2 carries, 9 yards, 1 touchdown. That's pretty huge. That's pretty huge. He kept him to 24 points. 24 points in December the 4th of this year. Now, obviously, we know how the playoffs ended, right? On January 29th, Burrow and Kansas City went back at it again, and the Chiefs ended up beating the Cincinnati Bengals by 3 points. Now, Patrick Mahomes had a really good game that game, right? 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, right? So, both sides of the coin there. But I could honestly say at this very moment that I would trust maybe what Lou Anarumo would be doing as opposed to what a Gannon can do. Because I've heard from multiple people and even Bengals fans saying that Lou Anarumo is one of the guys that they do not want to lose. They would rather lose Brian Callahan over Lou Anarumo. We had Bengals fans coming to my channel and comment things like that. They're like, he looks that darn good. He put a defense together with not that much talent on that defensive. That's a good players over there. I'm not trying to discredit them. They got good players. But it all's coming down to the scheme of what Lou Anarumo can do, right? Putting the best people available to do the job that they're supposed to be doing. And that's right there gets me really excited. That right there gets me really excited. And that's why my seesaw that I have going on right here, I have Lou Anarumo right here, while my other Mike Kafka and Jonathan Gannon is on this side. I like the idea of bringing in somebody who's been a coach for over 30 years. Now, he hasn't been a coach for over 30 years in the NFL, and I'm fully aware of that, right? He hasn't been. But this man's been coaching since what, 88? I kind of trust that. Now, he's actually had a very good time in terms of him being a defensive coordinator with the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I think he ended up getting hired there since 2019, right? 2019 to present, at least at this very moment. I love the idea of possibly getting a Lou Anarumo as the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Now, there is a rumor out there as well, and I'm not sure if you're going to like this, y'all, but there is a rumor out there saying that they might keep Vance Joseph if Lou Anarumo is hired. There is a rumor. Now, I thought it would have been the opposite. I thought it would have been the opposite. I thought if Mike Kafka was going to get hired, that then Vance Joseph would be staying, right? Because the defensive coordinator, he's offensive mind, and it makes sense to keep him. But now there's a rumor saying that if Lou Anarumo does come in, that Vance Joseph might stay as well. And the biggest reason why is because I believe they have some sort of relationship with Miami. I think that's what I heard. Like they worked with each other in Miami sometime. And now looking at his time, within the NFL, he was a defensive back coach in 2012 for the Miami Dolphins to 2017. And that might be when he, crossed paths with VJ. So if they do decide to bring a defensive-minded head coach and keep VJ, maybe we might see something where Vance Joseph's scheme gets elevated, right? Now, I know there's a lot of people out there saying, get rid of Vance Joseph. Why keep him? And I'm right there with you too. If I had a choice, I would rather not keep Vance Joseph as well. I wouldn't. But knowing Michael Bidwell and being that he's still under contract, I feel like it would be a safe thing for Michael Bidwell to do to not have to pay for another coach, right? Because we know that there was an extension given to Vance Joseph as well. So I think that would kind of be a easy way out, and they're going to kind of try to sell it with the idea of them working together in Miami, right? They might do that. Now, if that were to happen, all I got to say is this. Lou Anarumo, please elevate Vance Joseph to the level of we need to make sure that we're playing these first-year players, first-round players since the first game. Especially if it's a Jalen Carter or Will Anderson, whoever falls to the Arizona Cardinals. But I'm right there with y'all. There's a lot of people that do not want to get VJ or keep VJ. Now, if Jonathan Gannon is hired, he might keep VJ too. We don't know, right? We don't know. If Mike Kafka gets hired, he might keep VJ too. We don't know. Right now, what we do know is Vance Joseph is still a member of the Arizona Cardinals. That's what we do know. He hasn't been fired. He's still there. So for the people out there saying things like, well, I mean, I don't want to keep Vance Joseph. Well, I mean, right now he's the defensive coordinator. He's under contract with the Arizona Cardinals. It's not something where I'm just coming out here and saying, oh, I want to keep him. Right now, by default, he is the defensive coordinator of the Arizona Cardinals. There's nothing more to it but that. Right now, he is the defensive coordinator of the Arizona Cardinals. Now, unless somebody comes in and says, I want to bring this guy, then we'll see some moves changed. Right? But as of right now, by default, Vance is there. I can see him working with a Lou Anarumo because they had some time in Miami with each other, right? They had some time in Miami Dolphins with each other, so he might keep him, right? And Kafka, he's an offensive-minded guy. Maybe he might take the approach of Cliff Kingsbury, right? Oh, I don't know nothing defense. I'm going to keep him. I'm going to let him worry about all that stuff, which I don't like that approach, right? I don't like the idea of Vance Joseph not having somebody to report to, especially if he's not using these first-year talented first-round players, right? I want the idea of somebody overlooking Vance Joseph to say, hey, maybe try this, right? Even Gannon. Gannon's a defensive-minded guy, right? A lot to kind of unfold here. But Lou Anarumo, let's be honest here, has probably had one of the best records against one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And don't you want that? Because let's be honest here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be honest with ourselves. This NFC West is no longer the NFC West that was great, right? It's not. The NFC East looks very, very good, looks very, very dominant. But the Arizona Cardinals can maybe take 1 to 2 years to rebuild. And by that 2 year, we should be able to compete. If we need 1 year to rebuild, okay, I get that. But I would take Kyler Murray over any of the quarterbacks that we're seeing in the 49ers. Matthew Stafford doesn't look the same. I don't think he does. And then Geno Smith, okay. I get it. Geno Smith outplayed Kyler Murray. I get it. Brock Purdy looked a lot better than Kyler Murray. Okay, I get that, right? But by potential, I would take Kyler Murray in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. So this could be an opportunity here. This absolutely could be an opportunity, right? Now, offensive coordinator, right? That's the big question out there. Who's going to be the offensive coordinator of the Arizona Cardinals? If we were to bring a defensive-minded guy in here, right? Who's going to be the offensive coordinator? That's a big question. It is. It's a huge question. There is rumors, and I say this at almost all my streams, because I promise you there's at least one person that's going to be like, well, why would he leave the Chiefs? Eric Bieniemy, I'm going to say it again. Rumors and speculations are that Eric Bieniemy is going to try to find another offensive coordinator job elsewhere because of him being overlooked in the Chiefs. That's why. Rumors and speculations are saying that Eric Bieniemy might leave the Chiefs because of basically him being overlooked. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. He wants a head coaching job. It's obvious. What do you got to do if you're getting overlooked? Move over somewhere else and prove to everybody that you can do it, that you can be that guy. So that's why. I love the idea of maybe bringing an Eric Bieniemy in, right? I think that would be great. An experienced offensive coordinator that has worked with Patrick Mahomes. And we know that his team has been good, great, right? That would be awesome. Lou Anarumo as the head coach? Okay. Vance Joseph, by default, defensive coordinator, because he's still there. He's still there. Unless he gets fired, we're still going to talk about Vance Joseph being our defensive coordinator, whether you guys like it or not. Offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy. Who would say no? Who would say no? Kyler Murray coming back sometime in October? That, to me, that seems like a pretty darn good staff. Now, there could be some tweaks, right? Vance Joseph, there could be some tweaks. But I think that, who would say no to that? Lou Anarumo, a guy who's had multiple years of experience since the 88s. Since 1988, this man's been coaching. And I get it. I said this before. He hasn't been coaching in the NFL that entirety of the long. I think he started in 2012 in the NFL. But he's worked in college. Right? This man's been coaching longer than I've been born. I would take that experience. Right? Defensive coordinator by default, Vance Joseph. Offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy. Oh my goodness. Sign me up. Sign me up. Now, I do see somebody in the chat saying Eric Bieniemy as the head coach. Right now, the stigma has always been on Eric Bieniemy. And there's always been a kind of a cloud over Eric Bieniemy. And if you guys don't know about it, he didn't have a head coaching interview this year. Last year he did. This year he didn't. Why do you think nobody wants him as a head coach? Simple. It's written in the wall. We know why. People think that every success that they have in Kansas City is because of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. That's why. That's why. What does he need to do to prove his worth? He needs to move to a different team and prove that his offense can actually flourish in a different team. That's what he needs to do. So I know there's some people out there saying that they want him as the head coach, right? Eric Bieniemy. I'm not sold on that train yet. I'm not sold on the train of Eric Bieniemy being the Arizona Cardinals head coach for that simple reason of the Arizona Cardinals haven't already reached out to him. Yeah, I mean, they haven't. So we're just kind of here, right? I think, honestly, at this very moment, the Arizona Cardinals hopefully would be making the decision soon. And I'm talking about by tomorrow, by Wednesday, by Thursday. I want this decision soon. It needs to happen. It needs to happen. Another contribution coming our way. What's up, AZFan99? Another super chat. What's up, brother? Thanks so much. He says, Andy Reid did a cryptic appreciation for Bieniemy when they praised Andy's for the offense. Andy said, yeah, Eric did great too. Hopefully he can be our... Exactly. And that's the thing. That's the thing. We have so many people. Every single time I put Eric Bieniemy's name in my mouth. Every single time. Every single time. There's always somebody say, well, why would he do a lateral move? Well, we explained why he would do a lateral move, right? We also did hear Andy Reid, give praise to Mike Kafka. Also, Patrick Mahomes did the same thing. He vouched for Kafka. But let's be honest, Kafka hasn't had a lot of experience. We might find our way right back into the whole 2.0 cliff. A guy that's very good, very nice, very personable, but maybe might be too much at the very moment. We don't know these guys on a personal level, right? We don't know Kafka. We don't know Anarumo. We don't know Gannon on a personal level. We truly don't. What we do know is that those are the three finalists, and rumors came out this morning that it seems like it's actually down to either Gannon or Anarumo, defensive-minded coaches. I think an offensive coordinator job for Eric Bieniemy, if we can land him, would be huge for the Arizona Cardinals. Right now, Shane Steichen, I saw his name on the chat. He's already been linked to the Colts. They said that he's already linked to he's as good as what I heard. That Shane Steichen most likely is going to be the head coach of the Colts. That's what we heard, right? Rumors, speculations. If it hasn't already been announced, right? If it hasn't already been announced, I don't think it has, but it looks like Shane Steichen is going to be the next head coach of the Colts. So at this very moment, it's just kind of a wait and see type of thing, right? It's a wait and see type of thing here for the Arizona Cardinals fan base, because let's be honest here, I think we're all very close to hiring the GM of the local YMCA right now. Like we just need somebody. We need somebody. Yep, we got John Paul up there since Steichen is a Colt. Yeah, it's as good as good. The Arizona Cardinals might be the last people without a head coach, the last team without a head coach. Truthfully, we might be the last team without a head coach, unless we make our decision later on today. Unless we make our decision tomorrow. There's rumors saying that Steichen is already as good, and they're just waiting for the end of the Super Bowl to figure out the next move, pretty much, because nobody wants to make a decision during Super Bowl weekend. Nobody wants to make that decision. They're going to wait till after. So Cardinals might find their way back into last place in terms of not finding their coach. But we also did have a lot of stuff stacked up against us, right? We had our new GM. We had to hire him. We also had the Super Bowl here, which obviously Michael Bidwell is a very, very, he wants to be involved in everything. I'm pretty sure he's got some foundations to kind of get to, right? He wants to make sure he's involved in a lot of the stuff. So I would also put that there too, right? In terms of why this has been delayed, right? Definitely not a good look though. With the rumors out there that the Arizona Cardinals haven't found their head coach because nobody wants to work with Kyler, it's only getting worse and worse, especially if the Cardinals are the last team to hire their head coach. Although I'm not going to listen to the rumors, although I don't really care about the rumors, there's a lot of Cardinal fans out there that are going to listen to them, right? And they're going to have that stigma, right? They're going to have that stereotype always looming over their head. So the Cardinals aren't doing Kyler any favors. They really aren't. I mean, they don't need to, but if they wanted to, they're not doing them any favors. But the Cardinals might be the last team without a head coach. I'm hoping by later today, we're going to find something out, if not by tomorrow. I think that would be huge for the Arizona Cardinals, because we need to get it going. Super Bowl's over. Super Bowl's over. Anybody else we want to get, and anybody else should be open to start talking to. But what we do know right now is Gannon has not already interviewed, but the interview is supposed to be today for Jonathan Gannon. So we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. Now, right now, my question to you guys in the chat, Gannon, Anarumo, or Kafka? Who do you guys want? Because that seems to be our three options right now. Now, I know usually I say, go ahead and put it in the chat. It's really hard to gauge. I've tried it before. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a poll question right here. I'm going to make a poll question. I'm going to put it right here. So I'm going to say Gannon, Anarumo, or Kafka. So cast your vote right now, ladies and gentlemen. I just put it in the chat here below, and I just noticed we're sitting with 29 likes right now with over 100 people in the chat. Definitely do me a huge favor. Run up that like button. Once you're done casting your vote, go in and run up that like button, ladies and gentlemen. It helps out the algorithm. It helps my channel, our channel grow up, and we'll go from there. So definitely smack that like button if you can do so. So let's give it some time here while this vote goes through. Our options are either Gannon, Anarumo, or Kafka, and let me know what you guys are thinking about, who you want, right? Who you want. So earlier in the stream, we talked about Gannon, right? We got some Eagles fans coming our way, and they're saying things like this, right? This was a screenshot of somebody that came on our video, says Gannon is atrocious. I pray y'all get him. We got this New York Giants fan that kind of came out on nowhere, and he says, trust me, you need someone more like Lou than Kafka or the Eagles defensive coordinator because of our chaos and what we're going through. So we got a Giants fan coming in here, right? And they know Gannon pretty well because they played him two times a year. Then we also got our guy here, John, that's I believe a Cardinals fan, but he lives in the Eagles country. So he kind of let us know this as well, that they're not very fond of Gannon over there. And I mean in Eagles country. They're not very fond of him. The media questions him. Fans question him. So it might be pretty, right? At least it might be to the eyes of Arizona Cardinal fans, because at this very moment, like I said a little earlier, most people want us to hire the local YMCA GM at this very moment. You know what I'm saying? So we did hear that Kafka is out. We did hear the reports. Yeah, we did hear that it's going to either be Gannon or Anarumo. I mean, I'm going to allow you guys to kind of, put your own weight into that, right? If you believe it, cool. If you don't believe it, then cool too. Let's take a look here. This is where we saw that he is out. Now, for the people that don't believe, let's go ahead and see if we can get that screenshot. I believe it was from, who was it from? I think it was like Cameron Cox. Let me see if I can, I think it was from this guy right here. All right, let me show you guys the report in terms of, I see a lot of people in the chat here saying that, here we go. Let me show you guys what we're seeing right here. All right, let me upload this screenshot so you guys can take a look here. This was reported probably about 2 hours ago. And this is going to be from Cameron Cox here, I believe from the local 12. Yeah, here we go. So Arizona Cardinals coach search can confirm reports Eagles defensive coordinator Gannon is interviewing today. Been told it's down to Gannon or Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo. If Lou Anarumo is hired, Vance Joseph would likely stay, and he'd bring in an experienced defensive coordinator and a quarterback coach. So this is what we're seeing here. So for the people in the chat saying, yes, it seems like Kafka is out, I did see it as well. But as of right now, I'm still going to give you guys the options because your guys' opinion does matter. Like, I'm still curious to figure out who you guys want. So right now we got 60 votes. We got 78% says Lou Anarumo, ladies and gentlemen. 60 votes and a whopping close to 80% says they want Lou Anarumo over 13% of Gannon and 8% of Kafka. That's crazy. That's wild. Okay. We're going to allow the vote to keep going through. I'm going to maybe leave it there for 10 minutes and we'll kind of take a look to see how that ends up shaking out. Now, let's see here. We got somebody in the chat says Eric B would be cool. I'm assuming you mean Eric B enemy. As an offensive coordinator, I think that would be way cool. I think that would be super cool. I'm not going to lie. I think that would be really, really awesome. Let's keep it with the chat here. We got somebody says, give me a coach who can consistently slow down Mahomes. Lou over Gannon. And that's my point exactly too. It's written in the books there that Lou Anarumo has had a very, very, very good time or very good luck with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. So why the heck not, right? I'm right there with you. That's my philosophy as well. If you can beat the best quarterback in the NFL more times than he beats you, y'all, That's what we would love to see. That's what we would love to see. Now, let me do a quick refresh here. I'm only assuming the Arizona Cardinals are going to announce the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals soon, right? I'm only assuming they're going to do it either by later today, which I would hope that they do, or by tomorrow. By tomorrow. That's what I would love. That's what I would love. But I mean, we know the Arizona Cardinals, right? We know the Cardinals already. So let's take a look at the poll question here. 75% says Anarumo. Gannon seems to be coming up. Kafka seems to be coming up. We got close to 70. Let's see if we can get 100 votes up here, and then we'll close up that poll question. Somebody in the chat says, "Give me Gannon. I want VJ gone." That's fair. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, we don't know that VJ is going to be gone if Gannon stays, right? Or if Gannon's the next head coach. It's just rumors and speculations right now that if Anarumo does stay or does come on, looks like VJ will be staying. But the thing is that being that he's not the end all be all, right? That he's also defensive minded head coach, that's huge, right? It could probably change the philosophies of VJ. We might see VJ get better, right? Because bringing in another defensive minded head coach, it might help him out. So we might find ourselves in a better situation with having two defensive minded coaches working together and getting a better defense out there. We might, right? Or we might see the opposite. I don't know. Right? Got something in the chat says Lou has never had I'm assuming it means fair shot. Let's do it. Yeah, I agree. Well, Lou Anarumo has never had. You're right. Has never had a fair shot. You're right. 100%. He wasn't interviewed at all, other than the Arizona Cardinals. We're the only people that interviewed him. The only people that interviewed Lou Anarumo. The only people. Everybody else seems to be, Steichen, D'Amico, Sean Payton, right? Reich, right? Those people. We're the only ones that reached out to Anarumo. That might fuel his fire. That might make him that much better. That might give him the chip on his shoulder, because he's been a coach for a very long time. And I mean a very long time. Since 89. I said 88 earlier, but 89 is what, his profile is saying. 89. Came into the NFL in 2012. 2012 to most recent, he's been in the NFL. He's been coaching for a bit. Somebody in the chat says Gannon looks like a good coordinator because he has so much talent on the Eagles D. That might be a very, very, very good statement there. And this is exactly why we're seeing this person here, right here, which is a Giants fan, saying this portion that I want to kind of let you guys know. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was this individual right here. Right there. I believe it's the second line where it says, some have hinted if he wasn't blessed with an ultimate defensive talent, he would be a scapegoat. Right there. It's said right there by John Dune. They got some great pieces over there. Let me tell you that defense is stacked compared to the Bengals. Can you guys name a Bengal, like 2 or 3 defensive Bengals players? Can you guys? I can't. When I think the Bengals, I think of offense. I don't think of defense. And Lou Anarumo is consistently holding down Patrick Mahomes. Like, that's got to be something, right? That's got to give us some sort of juice. We'll see, though. We'll see. Somebody in the chat says Arizona needs someone like Dan. Dan Campbell is a good pickup. Dan Campbell is a very good pickup. To be honest with you, I think culturally he is changing that Lions team, and everybody is believing. Everybody's believing it. Everybody's believing in Dan Campbell's decision making. I agree, though. Somebody in the chat, what's up, Soul? He says VJ isn't running his defense with Lou. Lou isn't hitching his wagon to a bad defense because that would make him look bad. That might be fair. Yeah, that might be fair. If VJ does stay, maybe they can create a 2.0. I don't know, right? Something that we might see hybrid. I don't know, right? 2 defensive-minded people coming together. It seemed like they did work with each other back in Miami. But right now, it's rumors, right? It's not something where VJ is an absolute must stay, because we don't truly know. Lou Anarumo might not want him. He might not. So we'll see. But I'm glad that we're starting to kind of turn the tables here, and we're kind of starting to see people now seeing what Lou Anarumo can do, right? Or at least what speculations that he can do. And right now, I just want this search to be done. I want the 2023 season to start. I want to see who our next quarterback's going to be. I want to see who's going to be, well, not our next quarterback, but I want to see who our bridge quarterback is going to be. Because what I would love the Arizona Cardinals to do is get somebody in free agency and in the draft. I want to get somebody later on in the draft, of course. So we'll see, right? We'll see. It's a lot right now, and I'm hoping that we're getting close to the finish line. I'm hoping we're getting close to the finish line because, man, this is taking an absolute while. An absolute while. All right, so we do have some votes here. We got 89 votes up in the chat with 10 minutes. All right, let's end this poll question right here, and it's obvious, right? We got 73% says Anarumo, 17% says Gannon, and then we have 8% says Kafka still. Some people are still leaning and hoping for the option that Kafka can be the possibility for the Arizona Cardinals moving forward. So we'll see, right? Rumors, speculation swirling at this very moment, so we will see exactly what happens. Let's keep it with the chat here. We got somebody on the chat saying, let's change Arizona bad. Or bad luck. Yeah, for sure. I definitely got bad luck for sure. Somebody in the chat says it was concerning seeing the Eagles have 3 blown coverage plays where the wide receivers just walking in untouched. Yes. Oh, Patrick Mahomes, man. He took advantage of anything he could have done for sure. Contribution coming our way. We got no F's given with the contribution. Appreciate you, brother. He says, after the Super Bowl, Michael Bidwell can afford to cut VJ. And that might be true. I'm only assuming he gets some sort of revenue for State Farm Stadium, right? I'm only assuming he does. But, right? I don't know. I don't know how it works, right? We don't know how billionaires make their money. We truly don't. But I'm assuming there is some sort of revenue coming his way because of being in State Farm Stadium, right? It's a lot to host. I'm not sure if the people who live here in Phoenix were able to kind of drive down like where State Farm Stadium is. Y'all, this thing was popping, man. They got stadium, not stadiums. What do they call where people like performs? Oh, stages. They got stages, like tents galore. The State Farm Stadium was wrapped with the Super Bowl logo. Like this thing was like a lot to kind of put together. So, like, I'm only assuming he does, right? Billionaires always get money somehow. I'm only assuming he does. But like I said, I think most people want Vance Joseph gone. But to me, being that Vance Joseph is still here is telling. But we still don't have our head coach, so I don't know, right? I mean, the Cardinals right now are just kind of twiddling their fingers at this very moment. Someone in the chat says New Jerseys when. There was rumors saying that this year there's going to be New Jerseys. I don't know date. I don't know, but there was rumors out there saying that there might be New Jerseys coming along with the Arizona Cardinals. So we'll see. But yes, you're right. Uniforms don't help you win games. You're 100% right on that. They don't help you win games. They make you look prettier, but they don't help you win games. You're 100% right. We got somebody saying, I would take someone with a lot of coaching experience, and that is Anarumo. You don't hire someone just because they had one good year as a defensive coordinator. You're right. Lou Anarumo has a lot of coaching experience. That he does. That he does for sure. Let's see here. How much does AZ get for hope? I don't know. That's a question for Michael Bidwell. If he were to get signed, I'm assuming he does. I don't know. I have no clue. That's wrong. Asking the wrong person. I have no clue. No clue. But I mean, yeah. I mean, with that super chat that we ended up getting, right? I mean, maybe he might be able to afford it. I mean, he's a billionaire. He probably can. But what I'm saying is that, like, I'm not saying Michael Bidwell's strapped for money. I'm not saying that, but if Michael Bidwell is going to find somewhere to cut corners, he's probably going to do so. Like, that's just the Bidwell family. Like, that's what we've been hearing. Now, granted, yes, he's done one of the biggest swing plays that I don't think anybody saw coming. And I mean the national media, because there are some people still saying that Cliff is going to stay. There are still some people out there saying that Cliff was going to stay till the very, very, very end. Rumors just got really loud, right? Michael Pitt will make a huge decision. After the extensions that were granted to Steve Keim and Cliff, he made a huge decision, right? And he needs to pay them, what, $600, or at least Cliff needs to get paid like a lot per day, and it's crazy. It's crazy to hear it. But I mean, there's decisions that, billionaires make. Sometimes they're not the smartest. Sometimes they're not the smartest. Let's keep with the chat here. Right now, we got about 5 minutes left here in the stream. I definitely do appreciate you guys for being here, by the way. Yo, we're going to get this answer here pretty soon. So in this stream, if you guys missed it or you guys came in a little late, we talked about Gannon, right? Did he lose his value? I think a lot of fans do truly believe that he did lose his value, or at least some of his value, because of what he has on defense. Man, that GM was working overtime. that GM for the Philadelphia Eagles was working overtime to build that defense. That defense looks really good. So it might be one of those things where Gannon maybe, right, kind of hitched his wagon and looked a lot better than he did. But I think one of the biggest things out there is that we know is that Gannon did go through a collapse. 24 points in the second half. When he held that offense to 7 points in the first half, he held that offense to 7 points. If that were to remain, imagine how much the narrative would be changed for a lot of Cardinal fans. Just imagine it. The narrative would be so different if that were to continue to happen. He held that offense to 7 points in that first half. Second half came along. The Chiefs ended up scoring 24 points. And we know the rest is history at that very moment, right? 14-24 heading into the half. Eagles were winning, and just the collapse. Defense couldn't make a stop. They couldn't stop Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes was hurt. Patrick Mahomes got hurt too. Not enough for him to be out, right? Not enough for him to be out. It seems like his limp kind of got cured. But, we'll see. We'll see how it transpires. So, somebody in the chat says, please take Gannon off our heads. He's terrible. Zero. Here we go. So we got somebody in the chat here. So we got a Philadelphia Eagles. So let's hear it straight from the Philadelphia Eagles' mouths. Ladies and gentlemen, straight from the Philadelphia Eagles fans, and I would rather trust them because they know what Gannon says. And he says this. He says, please take Gannon off our heads. I think he means hands. He's terrible. 0 halftime adjustments is unacceptable in Philly. He should be ashamed. We got Joey here from, I'm assuming from Philadelphia or Eagles fan. He's coming out here and saying that as well. So it's not just like that we're kind of trying to whip up a story out of the air, right? Because of what happened in the Super Bowl. It seems like this has been a constant thing for Eagles fans. I don't think people really realize it unless you live in the Philadelphia country or in the Eagles country, Eagles country, right? I don't think we truly know unless somebody like that actually comes out and says it to us, right? Like, no adjustments going into the second half is huge, especially in the Super Bowl. You should have plan A, plan B, and plan C going into the Super Bowl. That's what you should have. But I think he truly saw it, right? He said, I held this offense to 7 points. With what I'm doing, I'm going to keep doing it. I think that's what happened. And he kept doing it. And it didn't work out, right? We didn't see Hassan Reddick being as explosive as we thought he was going to be. So, yeah. Here we go. We got a contribution coming our way. What's up, Adrian? Thank you so very much for the super chat. He says, what's up, Mike? I think Lou Anarumo would be our best at the moment, or Eric Bieniemy. Maybe we could have them both. P.S. Cards fans out of Cali. Love it, man. Appreciate you. Definitely Bird Gang all the way over in the West Coast, man. Thank you so very much for supporting the channel and obviously, being here. Definitely. Yeah, I agree. Why not have them both, right? I think Anarumo would be huge. I think Anarumo would be an absolute huge asset for the Arizona Cardinals to have him as the next head coach. And then if we can get Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator, it would be absolutely double huge. So I agree. Yeah, this contribution is right on the head there. And I feel exactly the same way. Now, let me give a big disclaimer here. If Gannon were to get hired, I'm going to support him, right? I'm going to support him. It's the way it is. I'm a Cardinals fan, and if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't work out, then we're going to find out pretty soon. You're going to see a sign in a year or two later saying fire Gannon. So, right, we'll see what happens. But per people that are in Philadelphia, or at least that are Eagles fans, it doesn't seem like Gannon has a very good reputation. It doesn't seem like Gannon has a very good reputation with the Eagles. So I get it, the shiny new toy, right? I get it, the idea of getting an assistant in the Super Bowl could work. It could work. There's a lot of people that don't really like him over there. A lot of people that don't really like Gannon over there. But the Cardinals are going to make their decision, right? The Cardinals are going to go out here and make their decision, and we're just going to support it and figure out how this is all going to shake out. Now, at this very moment, we have hit the hour mark, ladies and gentlemen. These hours go by so darn quick. I'm not sure if you guys feel the exact same way, but we have hit the hour mark. At this very moment, we will going to be closing up shop here pretty soon. I'm only hoping we're going to find out our next head coach here maybe by the end of today, maybe by tomorrow. But if you guys truly did enjoy the content, definitely thank you so very much for being here from the bottom of my heart. If you guys haven't already, smack the like button. Definitely do that for me right now as you are, finding your way out. Smack the like button on this video. Let's see if we can run this up to 100 likes on this video. Right now, it looks like the chat and Cardinals fans that we have on this channel seems to be kind of leaning towards the Anarumo route. I kind of feel the same way. I've always been a fan of Anarumo in terms of once we heard his name, I've been a fan of him, right? I'm not talking about years. Oh, no. I'm talking about the name. The moment we heard his name as a possible candidate, I want Anarumo. If we get Gannon, if we get Kafka, although, yes, reports came out saying that Kafka is out, I'm going to support whoever is going to be the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. But I definitely appreciate it. Everybody that's been here, thank you. Everybody that's been, chatting it up. Thank you, all the channel members. Thank you so very much for all the super chatters that came in here. I'm hoping in 48 hours we're going to hear something. I hope. Fingers crossed. But thank you so very much. We're going to close up shop here. As always, thank you so very much for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to everybody. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cards.